Welcome to this week's episode of What's Caking Baby. I am Patty DeFondi and I am your host. Last week I showed you how to make gum paste lavender flowers to put on your cakes. And this week I wanted to expand on the topic of lavender. It is a really great flower to use in the culinary world. You can use it for flavorings, you can use it for garnishes. There's just so many benefits of lavender. I wanted to expand on the topic. And especially now that it's just about spring and the flowers are going to be starting to pop up, I was wanting to just explore this topic a little bit further. Now, I purchased my culinary lavender at a lavender farm, which is about 15 minutes from me. I'm very fortunate to have this place. I go there in the summertime and it's just beautiful with all the fields and fields of lavender growing. And they have benches and little seats that you can sit there and have a picnic lunch. And I will sometimes sit at one of their benches, and their lavender farm overlooks the local lake. And it's a beautiful lake. It's called Peace Valley. And it is very peaceful. They named it appropriately. And in fact, the lavender farm that I get my lavender at is called Peace Valley Lavender Farm. And I sit there and you could see the lake from the distance, and you have in the background you see the lake, and in the foreground you have these beautiful lavender fields. And it is just a really serene atmosphere, and I love going there. And I get my culinary lavender from them, and I have a few tins of them, and this is the culinary lavender. And if you can see, and it comes in the lavender buds. And some of the recipes that I use, you have to grind it up to make it very, very fine. And other recipes you don't. So you just have to check the recipe. Now, before I get into recipes, I wanted to talk about the benefits of culinary lavender and what you can use it for. So I just wanted to give you a few fun facts. Culinary lavender is a member of the mint family and is closely related to rosemary, sage, and thyme. I did not know this, but when you look at the buds, when you look at the flowers, and when they start drying out, they do resemble thyme and rosemary as far as how they grow. And then the English lavender has the sweetest fragrance, and that is the most often used for culinary lavender. So if you want to grow lavender to use as a culinary product, seek out English lavender, because that is the most widely used lavender when you're using it for culinary purposes. And culinary lavender has a sweet floral flavor, and with just a hint of lemon and citrus tones. The potency of the flavor of lavender flowers increases as you dry them. So the fresher ones are not quite as fragrant as dried lavender, so keep that in mind. And if you were using them for cooking, use 1/3 quantity of the dried flowers as opposed to the fresh flowers for that particular purpose, that it does increase in potency as it dries. Now, the key in cooking with culinary lavender is experiment. You start out with a small amount of flowers, and then you add more as you feel that you're not getting enough flavor. And I've done that. I've started out very small in some of my recipes, and I've increased the flavor according to how I like it. I really love a lavender flavor, and I really want it to come out of the recipe. So I do add a little bit more than usual. Now, adding too much lavender to your recipe can make it taste like you're eating perfume, and it can come across as very bitter. So you really have to balance out the flavors. Honey and lemon really bring out the lavender flower. By using these two flavors with it, you get that very touch of floral tones and then to the more sweet tones. So it's a very great combination to use. Lavender flowers can also add beautiful color to salads. You can eat the lavender flowers and you add them to salads, and it just makes them just really pop out with color. If you're not a big fan of rosemary, try lavender instead. You can use that as a substitute and it'll give it just a little bit different tone. You can also make lavender flavored sugar. What you do is you add lavender flowers to a jar of sugar and just make sure they're completely covered in the sugar. You close it tightly and you leave it go for 2 to 3 weeks. And when you are finished, you will have lavender scented sugar. You can use that in baking and custards, and it will just give your baking product a more, just a slight floral tone. It's really interesting. You really should try that. It's really great. And then there are some great benefits to lavender. Lavender has been used for many years as a very calming effect. It's great for helping you relax. You can use lavender oil in bathtubs and soaking. And I use a lavender pillow at night, an eye pillow, and to put over my eyes. And it has a beautiful lavender scent. It's very soothing. It's very soothing for headaches. If you are prone to migraines, lavender is great for helping you reduce those migraines. If you have allergies or respiratory conditions, you can use lavender to help clear up the sinuses. So there are many great benefits of lavender, and you can use it in so many ways, and you can make all kinds of recipes with it. And speaking of recipes, in the comments section of this video, I have a downloadable, printable PDF file, and I've included several of my most favorite lavender recipes for you. So just go into the comments section below and you can download your recipe file. Included in the recipes, I have a honey lavender cake, and it is absolutely delicious and is perfect for making cupcakes out of. I use it for cupcakes all the time. With that, I have a honey lavender buttercream. I also have a recipe for lavender pastry cream. Lavender pastry cream works great if you're making eclairs or cream puffs. It really is a delicious taste. And then, of course, I make lavender macarons. Now, in my lavender macarons recipe, I give you the ingredients. However, the process of making macarons is a little complex, and it's really difficult to just explain it to you in a recipe as far as directions. So that is something that you really need to see on video. I will be creating a video tutorial on how to make macarons shortly. However, if you have a baseline recipe that you use in macarons, then you can just add that to it. And you can use lavender as a simple syrup. If you are making a lemon cake or even a lavender cake and you want to bring the flavor out more, then you would follow your typical simple syrup recipe. Then you would just add in a teaspoon of the Culinary lavender, and you let it steep for 10 minutes, and then you strain it to make sure that the buds are not in the simple syrup, and there you have lavender simple syrup. I do have the recipe in that document below also. And last but not least, I added my favorite lavender smoothie. This is really a great summertime, springtime smoothie to get you started in your day. It's just packed with deliciousness, with fruits, and you have to try it. It's very delicious, and you have a nice floral tone in the smoothie. Okay, so now that we talked about my recipes and we talked about the benefits of lavender and we talked about some really interesting facts about it, I'm going to show you how to paint a lavender flower on the side of your fondant cakes. And you can also use this technique to paint lavender flowers on macarons. And you can use this technique with buttercream also. So let me show you how to paint those lovely flowers on your cakes. All right, so we have here a piece of fondant, and it is a little dry. You want to try to let it set a little bit so it's not too soft. Place a small drop of violet, and then we're going to do a little bit of blue. This is delphinium blue. And this is a Wilton color. I wanted something not too blue. I wanted it more of like a muted blue. And then we're going to need a little bit green. I have Vivid Green. Well, it doesn't want to come out. There we go. Just a dab. All right. Now, I'm not going to use straight color. I'm going to add a few drops of vodka into the mix. And what that will do is dilute it out so it's not quite so concentrated, and it will also help it dry faster. Okay, so we're going to get started here. You want a really super fine brush when you're doing this. So you want to start up at the top with just kind of like a little bulbular pattern, and then you want to reach out for each bud. Reach out to the side of it. And then you can come down a little bit and come that down like that. And what you want to do is start out thin at the top and then you work your way down. And you can add a little bit of blue in there if you'd like. You can bring it out a little bit more. And then you can add some green in there as a stem. And then just add a little leaves here and there. And then you want to go back. And you can make them all different sizes. They don't all have to be the same. I'm going to bring one up here. And if you remember from our lesson last week, making the sugar flower lavender, they do come in bunches. They have different layers. They'll have a layer of 2 and then a layer of 4 maybe. And then if you want to bring this up a little bit more, you can do that. You can make them fuller. This is just freehand, and you can add a little stem to that. And you can bunch them together. Start out with a little bud and then a little dab on each side. What I do is I start out with a base and then I look at it and then I decide where I want to add more volume to it. And then if I want to add blue to give it some more definition, they don't all have to be purple. They can be, you can add blue in there. And the blue just gives it some nice definition. I'll make this a little bit taller, so and a little stem. And you could see what I mean in keeping them in groups. Maybe this one we'll bring over here. We'll start here and we'll branch out. You really do want a fine brush when you're doing this, because if it's too thick, it's not going to show the definition of the flower. Like this one's a little too thick, so I'm going to go back to using this super fine one. And you can correct that. You just go down the line. Oops, actually that was my green one. All right, I just dipped my green one into the purple, but that's okay. We can fix that. And see how you can fix it? And you can just make it a little bit taller. And then bring this out. And now that green one, you just wipe it off and you have your green again. And you just come down. And I think I want to add more to this one and bring it down a little bit more. So you can see you can make all different shapes with it and give them a little bit more definition. This one can be in the, because this one's larger, you can make this one to be in the foreground and then make the others into the background. And how you can do that is by bringing your leaf stem down more and make this a foreground flower. And then keeping the stems up there more shorter to make it a to give it the depth. And then what you could do is you could add grass here, or like a little mound of dirt or something, just to give it a little bit more dimension. So there you go. There's just kind of an idea of making lavender flowers. You can make these on the side of a cake. You can make these on macarons, whichever you would like. So there you have it, everyone. This is my rendition of Culinary Lavender and giving you a little bit more information about this beautiful flower. And I hope you try some of those recipes I'm giving you. So check out the download in the comments section and you will have my favorite lavender recipes. So be sure to get your lavender and start experimenting on this beautiful culinary product. You can order Culinary Lavender online. The lavender farm that is nearby me, they also have an online store. It is called Peace Valley Lavender Farm, and you can order lavender from them. The best culinary lavender is organic, so be sure that when you do purchase it, that you purchase it as an organic product. All right, everyone, so that is this week's episode of What's Caking Baby. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next week.